The night was quiet in the alien city, but the cafe lights still burned softly. Inside, a young human waiter moved between the tables with tired steps. His name was Daniel, a simple man with no dream bigger than earning enough money to eat. To the alien customers, he was invisible, just another servant in a place where humans were not respected. He carried trays of drinks, cleaned tables, and forced a small smile, though no one smiled back. That night, he noticed something unusual. Near the corner window sat a small alien girl, her skin pale with faint blue patterns glowing weakly. She looked younger than the rest, fragile and almost lost. Her clothes were torn, her eyes heavy with hunger. But no one cared. Other aliens laughed at her, calling her cursed. The owner of the cafe told Daniel to ignore her, saying she had no money. But Daniel's heart would not let him walk away. When the girl lowered her head in shame, Daniel felt something deep inside. He quietly placed a plate of bread and a bowl of warm soup on a tray. He walked to her table without asking permission. The cafe fell silent, eyes watching as the human placed food before the unwanted girl. She raised her head slowly, her silver eyes wide with disbelief. Her lips trembled as she whispered, "For me?" Daniel only nodded, saying softly, "Eat. You look hungry." The girl's hands shook as she touched the bread. Tears filled her eyes as she took the first bite. For a moment, the cafe seemed to hold its breath. Then laughter broke out, cruel and sharp. "Look at the fool waiter wasting food on a cursed one alien shouted. But Daniel ignored them, his focus only on the girl. Something about her sadness struck his heart harder than their mockery. The girl finished the soup, slowly as if afraid it would disappear. When the bowl was empty, she looked at him again, her voice soft but strong. "You should not have done this, human. You don't know what it means." Daniel frowned, confused. "It's only food. You needed it, that's all." But her eyes glowed brighter, almost shining now. "No," she whispered. "It is more than food. You gave me something no one else dared, kindness." He wanted to ask more, but the cafe door opened. Two tall alien guards stepped inside, their eyes scanning the room. The girl gasped and pulled her hood over her head. Daniel noticed the fear in her trembling hands. The guards asked the owner if a strange girl had been seen. The owner quickly pointed to the corner, but when the guards turned, the table was empty. The girl was gone, as if she had vanished into the shadows. Daniel stood frozen, his heart racing. The guards searched briefly, then left. But the tension remained heavy in the air. The owner scolded him, saying humans should never get involved in alien affairs. Daniel only nodded, though his mind was full of questions. Who was she? Why were they hunting her? Why did she say his kindness meant something greater? Later that night, when the cafe was closing, Daniel stepped outside into the cold streets. The neon lights reflected on the wet ground as he walked home. But then, he heard a soft voice behind him. "Waiter." He turned and saw her standing in the shadows, her hood low but her eyes glowing faintly. "You don't understand yet," she said. "But you changed my path, and now yours will change too." Daniel opened his mouth to ask, but she raised her hand gently. "Remember this night, for your life will never be the same." And with those words, she disappeared once more into the darkness. Daniel stood, alone under the alien sky, the city noise distant and strange. He felt something heavy settle in his chest, a mix of fear and curiosity. A simple act of kindness, he thought, could not be more than a moment. Yet deep inside, he knew the truth. The girl's words echoed in his head, chilling and mysterious. He whispered to himself, "What have I done?" And in that silence, destiny had already begun to move. The next morning, Daniel tried to work as if nothing had happened. The cafe was crowded with alien voices, the smell of strange food in the air, and the constant noise of orders being shouted. He carried trays, wiped tables, and forced himself to smile, but his mind was far away. He could not forget the silver-eyed girl, the way she whispered those strange words. "You changed my path, and now yours will change too." Her voice lingered in his head like an echo that would not fade. By evening, the crowd thinned, and Daniel went out to throw trash behind the cafe. The alley was dark, The neon glow painting, the walls. As he turned back, he froze. She was there again, the same girl, her hood covering most of her face, but her glowing eyes still piercing through the shadows. Daniel's heart raced, part of him wanting to run, part of him desperate to know the truth. "Why are you here?" he asked in a low voice. "Do you want food again?" The girl shook her head slowly. "No, not food. I came because you must know you are already part of this." Daniel frowned. "Part of what?" "I'm just a waiter. I only gave you bread, nothing more." Her lips curled into a small, almost sad smile. "That small act," she said, "was not small at all. It was a key that unlocked a door that has been sealed for centuries." Daniel blinked, his stomach twisting with unease. "What are you talking about?" She stepped closer, her hands shaking as she pulled something from her cloak. It was a small shard of crystal, glowing faintly with soft blue light. The light pulsed stronger the moment Daniel's eyes fell upon it. She whispered, "Do you see? It responds to you, only to you." Daniel took a step back, shaking his head. "No, this is crazy. I'm not special. I just work tables, nothing more." But the girl held the crystal closer, and the glow grew brighter. Her voice was urgent. "Now, long ago my people told of a prophecy, a stranger from another world, a human with humble hands, who would be the spark that changes everything." Daniel's breath caught. He wanted to laugh, to deny it, but his body trembled. He remembered the way the cafe lights flickered when she ate, the way her eyes glowed brighter after his kindness. This was no simple story. Something real was happening. The girl lowered her head, her voice softer, almost broken. "They call me cursed, abandoned, hunted, but I carry the bloodline of the old queens. I was meant to lead my people, yet they cast me out." Her hands tightened around the crystal. "Your kindness bound us, human. It woke the crystal, and now your life is tied to mine." Daniel's mouth went dry, his thoughts spinning wildly. "I never asked for this," he said, his voice shaking. "I don't want destiny, I just want to survive." The girl's eyes met his again, steady and strong. "Destiny doesn't ask what you want. It comes when it must." Suddenly, the sound of heavy boots echoed through the alley. Daniel turned, his heart dropping. Shadowy figures appeared at the end of the street, alien guards in black armor, their weapons glowing faintly. The girl gasped, clutching the crystal to her chest. "They followed me. They will kill anyone who stands with me," she whispered, fear sharp in her voice. Daniel's body stiffened, his hands shaking. He had never been in danger before, never faced death. The guards' eyes locked on him and the girl, their voices cold. There, the cursed one and the human helping her seized them both. Daniel's mind screamed at him to run, but his feet would not move. The girl stepped closer to him, her voice urgent and desperate. "Listen, you must not let them take you. If they capture you, the crystal will die, and with it, hope for my people." Daniel's breath came fast, his chest tight, his entire life flashing before him. A simple waiter, living in shadows, now standing at the edge of something vast. He looked at her, trembling but determined. "What do I do?" Her silver eyes burned bright as she whispered, "Trust me, follow me, and don't look back." The guards raised their weapons, their heavy boots pounding closer. Daniel's heart thundered in his chest, his simple life shattering in an instant. The girl gripped his hand tightly, pulling him into the shadows of the alley. Her final words before they ran were like fire in his ears. "Your life is no longer your own." The city streets were alive with neon lights and strange voices, but Daniel did not see them. All he felt was the cold grip of the alien girl's hand as she pulled him through narrow alleys. His heart pounded like a drum, his breath short and sharp. Behind them, the sound of armored boots echoed. The guards were close, their voices calling for blood. "Find the cursed one," they shouted. "Bring the human alive." They turned a corner, sliding into a market street that was nearly empty at night. The stalls stood silent, shadows covering the strange fruits and glowing fabrics. Daniel stumbled, but the girl tightened her hold, refusing to let go. She whispered, "Do not stop. If they catch us, they will end you and me too." Her voice carried fear, but also something stronger, a burning will to survive. Finally, she pulled him into a small abandoned storage house, the doors creaking as they closed. The silence inside was heavy, broken only by their ragged breathing. Daniel leaned against the wall, his chest rising and falling like waves. "What is happening to me?" he muttered. "I was only serving food yesterday, now I'm running for my life." The girl lowered her hood, her silver eyes glowing faintly in the dark room. "This is what I tried to tell you," she said, softly. "Your kindness has placed a mark on you, and now they will never stop hunting." Daniel rubbed his forehead, confusion tearing at his mind. "I don't understand. Why would powerful guards chase a simple girl like you, and why me? I am nothing, just a poor human waiter." Her voice grew sharp, almost pained. "You are not nothing. The crystal chose you. That means destiny chose you." She opened her hand, and the faintly glowing shard pulsed like a heartbeat. When Daniel's eyes met the crystal, the glow brightened, filling the small room with blue light. His skin prickled, a strange warmth spreading through his veins. He stumbled back, his voice trembling. "What is it doing to me?" The girl looked at him with sorrow. "It is binding us. Your fate is now mine. Your danger is now mine." A crash outside broke the silence. The guards were searching nearby, their metallic voices echoing. Daniel's panic rose, sweat on his forehead. "They will find us. They will kill me. I should never have given you food." The girl's eyes softened. She stepped closer, her voice steady. "If you regret it, I will leave. You will never see me again, but if I go, I will die, and the crystal will be lost forever." Her words pierced Daniel's heart, the image of her starving face in the cafe flashing back to him. He shook his head, his fear mixing with something deeper. "No, I don't regret it. I just don't understand it." Suddenly, the wooden door cracked under heavy blows, splinters flying into the dark. The guards had tracked them, their voices cold. "Open, or die inside." The girl grabbed Daniel's arm tightly, pulling him back. "We must go through the tunnels, come." She pushed aside broken crates, revealing a hidden passage leading underground. Daniel stared at the darkness below, his fear pulling at him like chains. But the guard smashed again, the door bending, and he had no choice. Together, they slipped into the tunnel, the girl closing the entrance behind them. The air was damp and heavy as they moved through narrow stone paths. Faint lights glowed on the walls, showing marks and symbols Daniel could not understand. His voice shook as he asked, "Where are you taking me?" The girl's voice was calm now, though her steps were fast. "To a place where they cannot find us, where you will see the truth," Daniel almost shouted. "I don't want truth. I want my old life back." Her steps slowed, her eyes meeting his in the dim light. "Your old life is gone. You touched destiny. And once touched, it never lets go." The tunnel opened into a hidden chamber deep beneath the city. Strange carvings covered the walls, glowing faintly like stars. At the center stood a stone pedestal, broken but ancient. The girl placed the crystal on it, and the entire chamber pulsed with light. Daniel's eyes widened as symbols lit up one by one, forming a circle around them. His voice barely a whisper. "What is this place?" The girl looked at him with a steady gaze. "This is where the prophecy began, and where your journey truly starts." Before Daniel could speak, a distant rumble shook the chamber, dust falling from the ceiling. The girl's face grew pale, her voice urgent. "They have found the tunnels. They are coming even here." Daniel's fear surged again, but so did something else. A strange fire was waking inside him, a feeling that he could not explain. He looked at the glowing crystal, then at her frightened eyes, and he realized his kindness had chained him to something larger than fear. The hidden threat was no longer just outside, it was inside his very fate. The chamber shook again, louder this time, and stones tumbled from the ceiling. Daniel's eyes darted around the glowing walls, panic twisting inside him. "They're coming," he whispered, his voice trembling. "They're breaking through." The girl grabbed the crystal from the pedestal, the light fading as she held it close. Her silver eyes glimmered with both fear and determination. "There is another way out," she said, "but it is not easy. If we fail, we die." Daniel's throat went dry, but he nodded because there was no other choice. The pounding of the guards' boots echoed closer, their shouts filling the tunnels. The girl pushed open a narrow door at the far end of the chamber, revealing a spiraling staircase carved into stone. "Up," she ordered, pulling him along. "We must reach the rooftops. From there, the city can hide us." They ran, their footsteps echoing in the hollow stairwell, each sound reminding them of the hunters below. When they burst through the top hatch, the cold night air struck their faces. Daniel gasped for breath, his chest heaving. The city stretched before them, towers of glass and steel glowing with alien neon colors. The rooftops were slick with rain, the air thick with smoke and strange scents. The girl did not stop. She pulled him forward, leaping from one roof to the next with speed that shocked him. Daniel stumbled, nearly falling, but she grabbed his arm tightly, refusing to let him drop. "You must trust me," she shouted. "If you fall behind, you're dead." Behind them, the hatch burst open, and armored guards spilled out, their glowing weapons raised. Bolts of blue energy shot across the roof, sparks flying as metal pipes exploded. Daniel ducked, his heart thundering. "We can't outrun them," he cried. The girl glanced at the crystal in her hand, its light pulsing like a heartbeat. Her voice was sharp. "The crystal reacts to you, not me. You must will it to protect us." Daniel's eyes widened in disbelief. "I don't know how, I'm just a waiter." But she pressed the crystal into his hand and the glow grew brighter. In that moment, as another blast came, the light burst outward, forming a shield that deflected the energy. The guards paused, shouting in alarm, their weapons useless. Against the sudden barrier, Daniel stared at his hand, his body shaking. "I didn't mean to do that." The girl's voice was fierce. "It doesn't matter. You did it, and you must keep doing it, or we die here." She pulled him again, weaving through pipes and antennas, the guards shouting as they gave chase. The city below was alive with noise, but up here, it was a deadly game of survival. They reached a narrow bridge between two buildings, the wind howling as they crossed. Halfway across, more guards appeared on the far side, blocking their path. Daniel froze, panic rising again. "We're trapped." The girl's silver eyes blazed. "Then we make our own way." She pointed down to a skylight below, the glass roof of a factory. Building without hesitation, she pulled him off the bridge and together they crashed through the skylight, glass shattering around them. They landed hard on a metal platform, pain shooting through Daniel's body. But before he could recover, alarms blared across the factory, red lights flashing. Machines hissed and groaned, and strange alien workers fled at the sight of the girl and the human. The guards followed, dropping down with heavy thuds, their weapons raised. The girl turned to Daniel, her voice urgent. "Now the crystal, use it again." Daniel shook his head, fear clawing at him. "I can't control it, it just happened." Her voice cut sharp. "Then make it happen again, or we die here together." The guards opened fire, blue bolts filling the air. Daniel gripped the crystal tight, closing his eyes. He thought of the cafe, of giving her food, of that single moment when everything began. The warmth returned, flooding through his chest, and suddenly the crystal erupted with light. This time the shield spread wider, pushing back the guards with a wave of force. The walls rattled, machines broke apart, and smoke filled the air. The girl grabbed his hand, shouting over the chaos, "Good, now run!" Through smoke and sparks, they pushed deeper into the factory. They burst through a side door into the dark streets again, their breaths ragged, their bodies trembling. The guards' shouts faded behind them, lost in the confusion of alarms. For the first time that night there was silence, only the sound of their own gasps and pounding hearts. Daniel dropped to his knees, clutching the glowing crystal. His voice was broken. "I can't keep doing this, I don't know what's happening to me." The girl knelt beside him, her silver eyes soft but steady. "You are not alone now," she whispered. "We are bound, and together we will escape, but only if you stop doubting yourself." Daniel looked at her, his fear mixing with something else, a spark of belief. For the first time he felt that maybe he was not just a simple waiter anymore, but far above them. On the rooftops, the guards watched from the shadows. Their leader's voice was cold as stone. "Let them run, they cannot hide forever." The hunt was not over. It had only begun. The night was quiet again, but Daniel's heart would not rest. He sat against a crumbling wall in the shadows of the alien city, clutching the glowing crystal in his hand. The girl sat across from him, her silver eyes watching carefully. Her hood was lowered, and for the first time Daniel saw how tired she looked, her face pale, her breaths uneven. He whispered, "Why me? I was no one, just a waiter who cleaned tables. Why would a prophecy choose me?" The girl leaned closer, her voice soft but steady. "Because destiny does not choose the strong, it chooses the willing. You gave me food when no one else dared. You saw me as more than cursed, and that kindness is power." Daniel shook, his head, his hands trembling as the crystal glowed faintly. "I don't want power, I don't want this, I only wanted a simple life." Her lips curved into a sad smile. "A simple life ended the moment you handed me bread." She touched the crystal gently, and it flared brighter, filling the dark alley with soft blue light. Symbols appeared in the glow, strange patterns circling around them. Daniel's eyes widened. "What is this? What's happening?" "The girl whispered, almost reverent. "The crystal is showing you, it is showing us the prophecy." The blue light formed visions, ghostly images that danced in the air. Daniel saw humans standing beside aliens, their hands joined, fighting against dark-armored figures. He saw cities burning, then rebuilt, alien children playing beside human ones. He saw himself holding the crystal high, light bursting across a battlefield. His chest tightened, disbelief choking him. "No, that's not me. I can't be this. I'm just a nobody." The girl's voice carried strength now. "You are not nobody, you are the spark, the one who begins change. It was written long before you were born." Daniel shook his head again, desperate. Prophecies are stories, not truth. But the crystal pulsed as if alive, the visions pressing deeper into his mind. He felt the weight of something greater than himself, something that frightened him more than death. Suddenly, footsteps echoed nearby. The girl's head snapped up, her expression hard. "They found us again," she whispered. "We cannot stay here, but first, you must know the whole truth." Daniel stood quickly, panic in his voice. "What truth? We don't have time." She stepped close, gripping his arm, her silver eyes burning. "You must understand I am the last of my line, the bloodline of the queens. My people call me cursed because I carry the old power, the power they fear, but with you, the crystal awakens." Daniel's chest tightened as he realized the danger. "That means if they catch you, they kill you, and if they catch me, they kill us both." She nodded slowly, sorrow in her face. "Yes, but if we survive, we give hope, not just to my people, but to yours too." The sound of armored boots grew louder, closer. Daniel's grip on the crystal tightened, his breath uneven. "I'm not ready for this," he muttered. "I don't know how to be anything but a waiter." The girl's voice rose, sharp and fierce. "You already are more. Don't you see, when you held the shield, when you protected me, you were already stepping into the prophecy." Daniel's fear clashed with the memory of that light, the warmth that had shielded them. His heart raced, torn between running, and standing then, out of the shadows, a familiar face appeared. One of Daniel's co-workers from the cafe, a human man with sharp eyes. Daniel's heart leapt with relief. "Marcus, you found me, thank the stars." But Marcus did not smile, his voice cold. "Yes, I found you, and I brought others with me." Behind him, armored guards stepped into the alley, weapons raised. The girl gasped, betrayal sharp in her voice. "You led them to us." Marcus sneered. "I had no choice. The aliens offered me wealth, freedom. All I had to do was give them the cursed girl and the fool waiter who thinks he matters." Daniel's stomach dropped, betrayal cutting deeper than fear. He backed away, the girl clutching his arm. The guards spread out, their leader stepping forward, his voice filled with cruel triumph. "The prophecy ends here, the crystal will be ours." Daniel's hand trembled around the glowing shard, his fear clashing with anger. He looked at Marcus, a man he once trusted, and felt something shift inside him. The girl whispered urgently, "The crystal responds to your heart. Do not let betrayal break you. Let it make you strong." The guards raised their weapons, the alley glowing with deadly blue light. Daniel's breath came fast, the vision still burning in his mind. He stood frozen between fear and destiny. The prophecy had revealed itself, but now he had to decide if he would live it or let it die. The alley exploded with blue light as the guards opened fire. Daniel ducked, clutching the crystal, its glow flaring in his hands. The girl pulled him behind a broken wall, her silver eyes burning with urgency. "You must use it now," she shouted. "If you do not, we both die here." Daniel's heart pounded, his breath ragged. He closed his eyes and thought of the first night, of her starving face at the cafe. He thought of the bread he gave her, a simple kindness, and how it changed everything. The warmth rose inside him again, rushing through his veins. The crystal flared, light bursting outward, forming a shield that swallowed the alley. The guards' blasts ricocheted back, scattering them with shouts of anger. For a moment there was silence, only the glow between Daniel's trembling hands. The girl gripped his arm, her voice sharp but full of awe. "You are doing it, Daniel. You are the prophecy. You are the one they fear." Daniel shook his head, his voice trembling. "I don't want to be feared. I only wanted peace." But the guards regrouped quickly, their leader stepping forward, his voice a snarl. "Kill the girl. Take the human alive. The crystal belongs to us." More blasts filled the air, the shield shaking under the assault. Daniel cried out, the strain almost tearing his body apart. "I can't hold it much longer," he gasped, sweat pouring down his face. The girl looked into his eyes, fierce and steady. "Then stop holding back, let it all out." Daniel clenched his teeth, gripping the crystal tighter. The warmth exploded into fire, light pouring out like a wave. The guards were thrown back, their weapons ripped from their hands. The ground trembled, walls cracked, the entire alley shaking under the force. When the light dimmed, the guards lay scattered, struggling to rise, but Marcus, the traitor, staggered to his feet, his voice filled with rage. "You are nothing, Daniel, nothing but a servant, and now you think you're chosen? No, you will die with her." He lunged forward with a stolen blade, swinging wildly. Daniel raised his hand instinctively, and the crystal answered. A blast of light struck Marcus, sending him crashing into the wall. His scream echoed before silence swallowed the alley. Daniel's chest heaved, his legs weak. He stared at his hands, trembling. "What am I becoming?" The girl touched his shoulder gently, her voice soft. "Not becoming, Daniel. Awakening. You are what you were meant to be." Before he could answer, horns sounded in the distance. The girl's eyes widened, her voice urgent. "The rebels, they heard the crystal, they are coming." Moments later, figures emerged from the shadows, not guards, but cloaked aliens with eyes full of fire. They bowed slightly to the girl, their voices hushed. "My queen, we have waited, and now the sign has come." Daniel froze, staring at her. "Queen, you never told me." She lowered her head, her voice quiet. "I was afraid you would leave me if you knew. But yes, I am the last queen, and you are the spark that the prophecy spoke of." Daniel's mind spun, too much crashing over him at once, but there was no time to think. The rebels raised their weapons, their leader turning to him. "Human, the crystal chose you. Will you stand with us?" Daniel looked at the girl. At her tired but unbroken eyes, he thought of the cafe, of the hunger in her face, of the cruelty of the guards, of Marcus's betrayal. Slowly, he nodded, his voice low but steady. "Yes, I will stand, not because I am chosen, but because I will not let them take her." The girl's eyes softened, shining with quiet pride. The rebels cheered. But the sound of marching soon drowned them out. The guards had returned, more of them, an army filling the street, their leader's voice booming. "You cannot fight us. Surrender now or be crushed." The rebels raised their weapons. The girl lifted her chin, and Daniel held the crystal high. The glow spread across the street, defiant and unyielding. The first clash was thunder, bolts of energy lighting up the night. Rebels and guards collided, the air filled with smoke and screams. Daniel stood at the center, the crystal pulsing like a living heart. Every time he thought of running, he saw her face, and the shield rose again, protecting those around him. The girl fought beside him, swift and fierce, her cloak flowing like fire in the chaos. Hours felt like moments, the battle raging without end, but the rebels did not fall, and Daniel's shield held strong. For the first time, he felt not just fear but strength, not just survival but purpose. He was no longer only a waiter, no longer invisible. He was the light that turned the tide. As dawn crept over the alien city, the guards finally pulled back. Retreating into the shadows, their leader shouted in fury, "This is not over. The human will fall. The queen will burn." But the rebels stood tall, bloodied but unbroken. Daniel lowered the crystal, exhausted but alive. The girl placed her hand over his, her voice steady. "This is only the beginning, Daniel. Now the battle for freedom truly starts." The dawn light painted the alien city, in gold and silver, but the streets still smelled of smoke and blood. Daniel stood among the rebels, the crystal faintly glowing in his hand, his body weak but his heart unbroken. Around him the wounded were tended, the fallen were carried away. Yet every rebel's eyes turned to him, not as a stranger, but as the one who had saved them. He whispered to himself, almost in disbelief, "I was just a waiter." The girl stepped forward, her cloak torn, her silver eyes shining with quiet strength. She looked at him not as a servant, not as a human outsider, but as someone bound to her by destiny. "You are not just a waiter anymore," she said, her voice soft but firm. "You are the one who gave hope, the one who turned prophecy into life." Daniel shook his head, still struggling to accept. "I never wanted this. I never wanted to be chosen." Her hand touched his, gentle on the crystal. "But you were, because you gave kindness when no one else would." Before he could answer, the sound of drums echoed across the streets, heavy and dark. The enemy had not fallen. Their army gathered again, stronger than before. At the edge of the city, lines of armored guards marched, their leader riding high on a beast of steel. His voice thundered through the city. "We will burn your rebellion. We will crush your false queen, and the human will die screaming." Fear rippled through the rebels, many trembling, some ready to run. Daniel's own heart shook, doubt clawing at him. But then he remembered the cafe, that small moment of kindness that had changed everything. If one act could spark destiny, then perhaps one stand could decide it. He raised the crystal high, its light spilling across the broken streets, and shouted, "We fight, not for prophecy, not for power, but for freedom, for her, for all of us." The rebels roared, their courage ignited. The girl stepped beside him, lifting her own weapon, her silver eyes blazing. "Together," she whispered, "we end this." The clash came like thunder, steel against fire, light against shadow. The guards stormed the city, their weapons blazing, but the rebels met them head-on. Daniel stood at the center, the crystal burning in his hands, every thought of fear drowned out by determination. He sent shields to protect, waves of light, to push back the armored tide. Each time he thought he would fall, the girl's voice pulled him back, reminding him he was no longer alone. The battle raged through streets and towers, the sound of war shaking the city to its core. The enemy leader advanced, his massive form cutting through rebels with savage strength. He fixed his burning eyes on Daniel, shouting, "Human, you are nothing. No crystal can save you now." He charged, his blade raised high. Daniel braced himself, the crystal flaring so bright it burned his skin. The two forces collided, light against shadow, their clash lighting the sky. The fight seemed endless, the enemy leader striking again and again, each blow shaking Daniel's shield. His body screamed, with pain, his strength slipping. But then he saw the girl fall to her knees, struggling against guards who swarmed her. Something inside Daniel snapped. He roared, a sound born of fear, rage, and love, and the crystal answered with pure fire. The shield burst outward, engulfing the leader and his army in blinding light. When the glow faded, silence fell. The guards scattered, their leader broken on the ground. The rebels stared in awe, their voices rising into cries of victory. The girl staggered to Daniel's side, her eyes wet with tears but shining with pride. "You did it," she whispered. "You gave us freedom." Daniel collapsed to his knees, gasping for air, the crystal dimming in his hand. He whispered back, "I was never a hero. I only gave bread to someone hungry." She smiled through her tears. "And that is why you became one." The rebels gathered, raising their weapons in salute, calling his name, calling him not a waiter, but a warrior of destiny. Daniel looked at them, then at the girl, And finally, at the cafe in the distance, the place where it had all begun, he felt a strange peace even as exhaustion pulled him down. A simple kindness had sparked a fire that changed the stars. As the sun rose higher, the girl stood beside him, her hand gripping his tightly. The city was free. Her people had hope, and Daniel's life would never again be ordinary. He had stepped into destiny, and though he never asked for it, he had embraced it. The prophecy was fulfilled. But the story of the human waiter had only just begun.